Okay, so let's get the altar ready for ritual. We're going to start with some altar oil. This is a great all-purpose magical oil that you should keep on your altar just to have something handy for any time you want to raise magical vibrations. So we're going to do that with our altar right now just by giving it a very light wiping. And then we're going to go ahead and turn the cloth over here and make sure that we've got all the oil off, that it has just been lightly shined with some oil and that it's not wet. And there we go. So it shouldn't be slippery or wet. It should literally be wiped dry. Then we're going to put some of our own personal energy into the altar. You can touch the altar, raise your hands over it, but just concentrate on some positive magical vibrations for your ritual. Then put a protective layer on your altar if you would like beneath your altar cloth. I like using a nice plain protective layer. Then you can put your decorative altar cloth on your altar. We're using a triquetra here. The triquetra represents the three Celtic symbols of water, earth, and sky. It also represents the Maiden, Mother, and Crone. So we're going to place that on the altar. And then we're going to place down our triquetra pentacle. So we're going to put that right in the center. You could also use a 5-pointed star pentagram if you would like, for the 5 elements: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. Or you could use the triple moon symbol that represents the Maiden, Mother, and Crone. That also has a pentacle on the inside of it. And then we're going to set up our elements. So our tools go into each directional element. So we're going to pick a bell here. Is it going to be triquetra or triple moon? We're going to go with the triple moon bell and put that in the side of the east for air. And then all of our air tools are going to go there as well. This is a selenite wand, a nice beautiful crystal wand. Then I have an oak wand that we're going to place there in the east as well. Here is a copper and crystal wand. We're going to place that in the east. And then an altar besom. So we're going to take this altar besom and place it in the east as well. Now for the south, for fire, we're going to put our athame. This athame is great. It's just a nice little athame. It has a wooden handle, so you can carve symbols. You can paint it any kind of colors you would like. You can personalize it. It's really great. So I like using this one. It's great to have in the south right there. And then we need something for the element water in the west. We're going to use the chalice. So this dragon chalice is going to be on the element west, water. Then we're going to put our sea salt in the element of north, which is earth. So for the element earth in the north, we're going to put sea salt. And then we're going to use our censer, or our cauldron, or witch's cauldron. This one has a pentacle on the front and back. And we're going to place that in the center of the altar. There we go. And we're going to turn the lid over and get it ready by putting some salt on that lid for the charcoal disc. That salt just acts as a little base or foundation for the charcoal disc to help keep it burning. So I like putting that down. You don't have to, but this is what works for me. So that's what I'm going to do. And for charcoal, we're going to use some Holland Quick Light Charcoal Incense. Let me find it really quick. Okay, so some Holland Quick Light Charcoal Incense. This is 33 millimeter charcoal discs, and it has a little sinking middle part right there where you can put your resin or your incense, so I love that. Then we're going to put some crystals in each elemental direction. So we're going to put howlite for air in the east, carnelian for fire in the south. Then we're going to use some peach moonstone for the element water in the west. And then we're going to put a tiger's eye in the element north for earth. Okay. And here is a volcano rock that I found around my home. So I'm going to use that in the element fire in the south. So you can have something like that too. And here is a crazy lace amethyst point. And I use this one for spirit. I put it in the center line of the altar. It can be more in the center. It can be up towards the top. It can be anywhere you would like. I'm also going to use some statues that I made, a goddess and god. But you don't have to. If you don't have room on your altar, you can use anything you would like. But I'm going to use these. And some tea light holders. to represent the goddess and god, because I like lighting tea lights when I call the goddess and god in my rituals. So I definitely like having candles for them. Even if I don't for any other element or anything else, I do like having them for the goddess and god. So I do add the tea lights for them. And then I'm going to add another container for water here, and you'll see why. And here's our incense that we're going to use. This is some resin incense, multicolored resin incense, and it adds a wonderful scent to your workings. And some altar oil. So anything that we need to anoint or raise energy, we've got altar oil to do that. Now we have to mark out the circle. We're going to start by making a circle of salt. Then we're going to use some incense and cleanse the circle. And then we're going to go ahead and use some water and salt to consecrate it as well. Oh, and I forgot, we need a lighter. So we're going to put this in the south for fire and have our lighter handy. And don't forget some offerings. I'm going to put out some fresh rose petals that I got for Mother's Day, for my Mother's Day bouquet. I'm just going to give some to the goddess and god and put them on the altar. And here we are with our sage and feather. So I think we're all ready to begin doing this circle. Oh, let me get some water in this container. And now we're starting with the salt. So I do need to mark out the circle with salt. You just sprinkle a little bit around and make a full circle. You do have to get it behind you as well, because you should be standing in the center of the circle. So, and then I put some on the charcoal disc as well. It adds a good base for the resin. Now go ahead and get your charcoal disc started. It takes a minute for this disc to be ready for your incense. If it isn't turning white, then it's not ready for the incense. It'll just burn it. So go ahead and get it started so that it has time to turn the color that you need it to turn to have your incense be pleasant while you're working with it. So just give it time to get started. Once you know that it's started, you can go ahead and move on to the next step. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and light our white sage. And we're going to hold the shell underneath it, the abalone shell, and we're going to go in a circle every direction, hit it with some of the sage incense, and cleanse every area, okay? And then go ahead and extinguish your incense or your white sage. And place it back on the altar. Keep an eye on that charcoal, make sure it's doing what it should do for you. I'm going to go ahead and place some resin incense in there now so that the vibrations are just going in the background. And now we're on to the next step, which is placing some water in the chalice. And then we have to consecrate that with the salt. So we go ahead and put a scoop right there, and we bless the water. And so this is the element earth and water. And with the white sage, we were using air and fire. So now we're going to consecrate it with earth and fire. I'm sorry, with earth and water. And you do want to hit the whole circle, all around you, the entire circle, with the blessed water. And then place that back on your altar. Now you're going to cut a space between the worlds with your athame. So you walk from the east all the way back around again, making a full circle and cutting a space to hold your magic vibrations so you can have your doorway open. Okay, so take your bell and use it to call the element air in the east. Then you're going to go over and pick up your athame or your carnelian, whichever one you want to use, and call the element fire in the south. Now here's why I have a separate water container. I go over to the west and I call the element water in the west. Okay, because the chalice is a working container at this point. And then we're going to go ahead and use the tiger's eye and call the element earth in the north. So now we've called all of our elements. I'm going to go ahead and anoint each tea light with some altar oil to raise its vibrations. And then we're going to go ahead and call the god and light his candle. And then we go ahead and call the goddess and light her candle. And now you can go ahead and announce that your ritual is begun, and you can go ahead and start your workings. So if you have any spells that you want to do, you can bring those to the table. Make sure all of that is inside the circle. So you would be pulling that out from underneath the altar or from within the circle. You don't want to cross over your circle once it's already started. You'll have to wait till you open the circle at this point. So you'll want to have everything handy and by your altar. And there you go. When you're done, go ahead and do everything in reverse. Go ahead and dismiss the goddess and put out her candle. Dismiss the god and put out his candle. Thank them for their attendance and their energies in your ritual. Do the same with the elements, but we're going to go in reverse as well. So we're going to say earth, then we're going to go to water, and then we're going to go to fire, and then we're going to go to air, thanking them for their service, for their energies, and dismissing them. Then you want to go ahead and close the circle. So to do that, you want to take your athame and pull that energy back into you, closing the door, and announce that the circle is now open. Merry do we meet, merry do we part, and merry will we meet again. Blessed be.